Hi, I'm William Banks. I'm 73 years old. I'm a retired black veteran and a beekeeper. Now I'm going to tell you my story. Let me tell you something about Sunday mornings. They used to mean peace, quiet, that old school stillness where even God might put down the newspaper and sip his coffee slow. That was the mood. Sun warming my back, knees cracking like they do when you're past 70, and me just walking my usual route. Jar of homegrown honey in one hand, bag of oranges in the other. Same path every week, same mission. Bring honey to the school across town for the kids with diabetes. No processed sugar, just a spoon of Mr. Banks's backyard gold in their oatmeal. Simple, gentle, good. But you ever notice how kindness seems invisible these days? I had on my old baseball cap, the one with the faded American flag my son wore the day he left for his last deployment. He didn't come home, but I carry that cap like I carry everything else, with pride and silence. And then they came. 3 bikes, engines howling like they owned the air itself. Big, loud Harleys, too much chrome, too little humility. They rolled up like they were starring in some forgotten biker movie, all leather vests and loud laughs, and parked right next to me like they were doing me a favor. The lead one, bald, with a head so shiny you could fry bacon on it, pointed at my honey jar and let it rip. "Yo, old man, that for your bees or your dentures?" And just like that, the others cracked up like it was a comedy special, loud, fake, the kind of laugh that punches down. I didn't say a word, just kept walking, because at this point in life, I've learned not every bark deserves a bite, especially not at 8 a.m. But here's the thing about clowns. They hate being ignored. The second guy, short with a crooked jaw like a bad puzzle piece, steps right in front of me. "Oh, old man, that for your bees or your dentures?" And just like that, the others cracked up like it was a comedy special, loud, fake. The kind of laugh that punches down. I didn't say a word, just kept walking. Because at this point in life, I've learned not every bark deserves a bite, especially not at 8 a.m. But here's the thing about clowns. They hate being ignored. The second guy, short with a crooked jaw like a bad puzzle piece, steps right in front of me. "You deaf or just slow, Grandpa?" Now, let me pause here. I've been called things that would make a mirror crack. I've lived through eras where names were knives and silence was survival. But being mocked for minding my own business? That hits different. "Excuse me," I said, calm, clear, still holding the honey like it mattered. "I need to get to the school." That's when he knocked the bag out of my hand. The honey jar hit the ground and shattered. Glass everywhere. Sticky gold bleeding into the sidewalk. And in that moment, I didn't just see broken glass. I saw a week of work. A gift for children. A piece of myself ruined for sport. I froze. And they laughed. One of them chuckled, "Oh, was that your special treat, Pops?" Then came the push. "Not hard yet, just a warning shot." "Pick it up, old man. Careful, though. Your back might file a complaint." And I stayed calm. I bent down slowly, like a man picking up the pieces of dignity other folks think they can shatter without consequence. And that's when the first hit came. Right in the ribs. Not a slap, not a shove, a hit. I gasped, not from the pain, but from the audacity. What kind of man strikes a senior citizen while he's cleaning up broken glass? I'll tell you what kind. The kind who confuses cruelty for power and silence for permission. The second hit came fast. Shoulder this time. I stumbled. The third guy, who hadn't said a word till now, kicked the back of my leg. I went down. Face first, arms out, back burning. But here's what stung more than the bruises. The people around us, they watched. They watched. A woman pulled her kid across the street. A man in a luxury car rolled up his windows. Somebody even pulled out a phone, but not to call for help, just to film it. Because in today's world, a tragedy isn't a tragedy unless it's trending. The bikers didn't try to finish me. They weren't there to destroy. They were there to humiliate, make a public statement out of an old man. And for a moment, they succeeded. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't know, is that old black men don't crumble. Not after what we've seen. Not after marching for rights we still get questioned on. Not after burying our children under flags we saluted. So I lay there, bleeding from my elbow, breathing slow and heavy. And I thought to myself, not why me, but what now? Because if nobody else was going to stand up, then I guess it was on me. Broken bones, bruised pride, and all. FOMO trigger. End of part 1. What happened next changed everything. You do not want to miss how this turns around, because when an old man's got nothing left to lose, you better believe something's about to break. And it ain't gonna be him. They thought it was over, not even close. Told by William Banks, 73-year-old retired veteran and community honeyman. You ever hit the ground so hard, it feels like the earth kept spinning without you? Yeah, that was me. Face down on hot concrete, one arm under my chest, the other scratched up from broken glass. My jar of honey? Soaked into the sidewalk like some kind of offering to a higher power that decided to look the other way that day. But pain wasn't what hit me hardest. It was shame. Not because I got knocked down. Please, I've been through far worse. Riots, war zones, losses I wouldn't wish on anybody. What broke me wasn't the fists. It was the fact that nobody did a thing. Not one person, not one voice, just the shuffle of shoes walking past like I was some old coat someone dropped and forgot. That kind of silence, it cuts deeper than any bruise, because you know what's worse than being disrespected? Being unseen. And let me tell you, when folks stop seeing you, you learn to start watching them real close, every face, every smirk, every loud laugh that wasn't earned. Those three eventually got tired, tossed in a few lazy kicks for good measure, like seasoning the mess they made, then strutted off like they just won something. Leather vests bouncing, high fives flying, as if jumping a 73-year-old with arthritis was some kind of achievement. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I stood up, slow, stiff, every joint complaining. My ribs felt like popcorn kernels that popped wrong. My knee clicked like a busted hinge. But I stood. I spit out the blood in my mouth, looked around, and what did I see? Nothing. Nobody. So I walked home. That's right. Walked. 'Cause calling the cops? Please. That would have been comedy gold. Picture me, bleeding black and elderly, explaining to officer, we'll see what we can do, that 3 grown men in biker gear had just treated me like yesterday's trash. You think they'd rush over and slap on cuffs? Nah, I'd be lucky to get a case number, or worse, get blamed for causing a disturbance. I buzzed myself into my building, climbed the stairs like they owed me something, and sat down in the dark. Didn't even clean the blood, didn't even take off my jacket. I just sat. And that's when it hit me, something I hadn't felt in decades. Shame, not because I lost, but because I believed I was supposed to just take it. Like every time I walked into a store and was followed, like every job interview where I was overqualified, like every time I was told to calm down just for speaking up. I'd been swallowing injustice for so long I forgot how bitter it really tasted. But that night, something cracked open in me, and it wasn't a rib. Next morning, I didn't go to the school, didn't bring the honey, didn't wear the cap, just sat by the window thinking. And then I got a text from Ms. Hall, the teacher who runs the school's breakfast program. "Mr. Banks, are you okay? The kids are asking about you. They missed their honey man." That one stopped me cold. Honey man. Like I was a cartoon character, a sweet grandpa with backyard bees and nothing but love to give. But the world don't care how kind you are. It sees what it wants. And what it saw in me was someone it thought would stay quiet. But the world miscalculated, because just then another message popped up. Unknown number. "Sir, I saw what happened. I recorded it. I've been trying to post it, but it keeps getting deleted. I think they know someone. Please don't ignore this." I read it twice, and a third time. And that's when I realized this wasn't just about me anymore. That video, that was truth, and truth, it has a way of kicking down doors no lie can keep shut. I texted back, "Meet me at the school tomorrow, 8:15 sharp, and bring that footage." Next day, I showed up like it was any other morning. Hat on, fresh jar of honey, jacket zipped to hide the bruises. Every step felt like I was dragging a truck behind me, but I made it. The kids ran up to me, arms wide, like nothing happened. Because kids, they don't see bruises, they see people. I sat on my usual bench, breathing through the soreness. And then they came back. Same bikes, same noise, same 3 faces, only this time gift bags in hand. I kid you not. One even had a bouquet of half-wilted gas station flowers. "Hey, Mr. Honey," Baldy called out with a fake smile. "We brought a peace offering." The nerve. I didn't even look at them. "Keep it. I'm not interested in whatever performance you're about to give." "Aw, come on," one of them said. "We were just messing around. Didn't mean nothing by it." Didn't mean anything? They turned my dignity into a circus act and called it just playing. That's when I heard a faint buzz, and I turned my head. There across the street was that kid, phone up, drone in the air, live streaming. And he wasn't alone. Parents had shown up, teachers, Ms. Hall, and a local news crew, mics out, cameras rolling. They weren't talking, but they were watching, and this time, nobody looked away. The bikers started to shift. Baldy's grin cracked. Crooked Jaw glanced over his shoulder. The quiet one leaned in and whispered, "Yo, we're being recorded." I stood, slow, intentional. "You want peace?" I said. "You start by telling the truth, right here, on camera, no more smirks." "Man, it was a misunderstanding." I cut him off. "Number A misunderstanding is when you step on someone's foot in the grocery store. What you did was assault wrapped in a smirk." They said nothing. Then that kid stepped forward, held up a USB stick. "Everything's on here, every word, every swing, already backed it up and sent to 10 people. That moment, that wasn't tension, that was ignition. FOMO trigger. End of part 2. This is the breaking point. Everything you've waited for, the fire, the fallout, the reckoning, it's about to land. Stay right here. You don't want to miss how this old man flips the script and burns the silence to the ground. The moment the town looked me in the eye, final chapter of William Banks's story told in his voice. There are moments in life when the world just pauses, where the air gets heavy, where even the wind holds its breath because it knows something real is about to go down. This question mark. This was one of those moments. I was standing on the sidewalk right outside the school, the same place where I dropped off Honey every week like it was my mission in life. But today wasn't about Honey. Today wasn't about peace. Today was about truth. And across from me stood the three men who tried to take that away. Same leather vests, same faces. But now they weren't smirking. They were shifting their feet, because this time I wasn't alone. Behind me, parents, teachers, the school principal, the reporter from the local station adjusting her mic, ready to broadcast. Across the street, neighbors I hadn't seen in years, kids holding their mothers' hands, and that young man with the footage, the one who refused to stay silent, standing tall, phone in hand, like a soldier ready for justice. And in front of me, three grown men who finally understood what it felt like to be on the other side of the lens. "Look, sir," Baldy said, holding out a sad-looking bag of gifts. "We didn't mean to—" I cut him off before the sentence could finish tripping over itself. "You meant exactly what you did." My voice wasn't raised. It didn't need to be. It was steady, cold, clear, like a gavel coming down in a courtroom full of silence. You saw a black man with gray hair and thought I was an easy target. You thought no one would notice. You were almost right. I looked around at the parents, the staff, the kids, the cameras. But someone did. A student with a phone, a teacher who cared, a stranger who said, "Not today." Then I stepped closer, took a breath, not to calm down, but to let the next words hit harder. That's the difference between humiliation and history. History begins when someone chooses to care. The tall one with the tattooed arms muttered under his breath, "So, are you pressing charges?" And right then, for the first time since the attack, I smiled. "Number, I'm not pressing a thing." I turned my head slowly to the reporter, who had her mic raised like a sword drawn from its sheath. But she might. She stepped forward. "Mr. Banks, would you like to share what happened last week?" I nodded once, and I told it all. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I spoke. I told him about every blow, every insult, every face that turned away, every second I spent lying on the sidewalk while the world looked the other direction. But I didn't just speak for me. I spoke for every elder who's ever been silenced, every man who was told, "Just let it go," every woman who kept her story to herself to protect someone else's comfort. And I told it with a voice full of gravel and glass, because some truths aren't supposed to go down smooth. When I was done, you could have heard a pin drop. Not even the birds dared chirp. Baldy took a hesitant step forward, still holding that pitiful bag like a toddler trying to give back a toy he broke 5 days ago. "We're sorry, man." I looked at him square in the eye. "Number, you're nervous, and I didn't come here for an apology." Then I turned, and I walked away. Not fast, not slow, just right. Back straight, shoulders level. And I let them watch, let them film, let them remember. Because this wasn't about revenge. It was about respect. That night, the story hit the local news. Then it went national, clips, headlines, commentary. Retired veteran speaks out after public attack. The footage aired in homes across the country, talk shows, podcasts. People finally saw it for what it was. The sheriff's office, no comment. The mayor, we are deeply concerned in investigating. One of the bikers, booked. The other two, under official review. They tried to walk it back. Said it was a misunderstanding. Said they'd been kidding. But it was too late. The video didn't just show what they did. It showed who they were. And more importantly, it showed who I am. Next Sunday, same walk, same honey jar, same oranges, same old flag-worn cap. But this time, kids waved at me from car windows. Parents nodded as I passed. A local artist painted my portrait and hung it in the school cafeteria. They called me Mr. Banks, the honey man. But now, it wasn't just because I brought sweetness. It was because I reminded this town and the world that even honey has a sting. Ending note to viewer. Some folks carry pain like a secret, others carry it like armor, but me, I carry mine like a torch, because when truth is finally seen, when silence finally breaks, that light spreads. And no lie can survive the heat.